What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here, and in today's video we are going to be talking about everything you need to know about real player motion in Madden 19. Now, this is really the big feature for Madden 19. This is what changes the game. Now, I'm going to give you hands-on experience because I was at EA Play. I got to play the game. I also got to capture a lot of exclusive footage of the game, which you can expect within the week. We have to wait until they allow us to release it, but it should be within the week. I plan to have, once I edit everything, about at least 10 new really cool videos for you guys, so definitely hit the notifications if you haven't yet. I know sometimes the notifications mess up and don't actually notify you, so you might just want to check back, or you could follow me on Twitter at EricRayweather. I'll be tweeting them out there when they go live, but definitely some really great exclusive content for you guys. Not only me, but some other guys were able to get some as well, so we're going to all be dropping them within the week. And it's just, I know people have leaked footage of the game, like really bad leaked footage of the game, and I would just kind of urge you to not judge off of that because you really can't get a good feel for it. I can give you first-hand experience, and I'm going to have videos that are going to show things a lot better than the leaked footage has, so just keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind the game is not 100% finished yet. There's still a lot of tweaking that needs to be done, so take everything with a grain of salt. It's really hard to judge the game by leaked videos and the state that it's currently in. But without further ado, let's get into real player motion. So while I was out there, EA released a deep dive gameplay blog where they focused heavily on real player motion. So I'm going to go through a little bit of the tidbits that they talked about, but then also give my first-hand experience of these things since I got to play the game, and, you know, kind of talk about the good, the bad, confirm some things, and, you know, things of that nature. So in the gameplay blog, EA said, gameplay in Madden NFL 19 was developed with two primary objectives: player control across the field and immersive NFL experience from start to finish. To achieve these objectives, our goal is to deliver the most significant animation upgrade in Madden history. Madden NFL 19 introduces a package of features known as real player motion, featuring authentic player movement, more player control and responsiveness, and player signature behaviors that will immerse players into the NFL each and every game. Now, this is completely true. First off, the animations are pretty incredible. There are tons of new animations in the game. I'm probably going to do two separate videos on that, but two of the most notable are catch animations and hit stick animations. So there are tons of new crazy catch animations, especially for the really elite receivers. There's crazy one-handed catch animations. There's crazy sideline animations. Different variations of like players dragging their feet on the sideline. Just crazy catch animations. You'll see. I'll do a video on it. Hit stick animations. They pretty much redid all the hit sticks. There's so many big hit sticks now. I mean, people getting like ragdolled and crazy hits. And especially, you know, if you have a big linebacker and you're going up against a little scat back and he tries to run into you and you activate that hit stick, like, he's gonna go flying. And like, there was a lot of oohs and ahs this weekend when people saw hit sticks. Animations are definitely top notch. Not only that, you have like animations in terms of, you know, new gang tackling that makes sense. When somebody piles into a gang tackle, you know, it looks realistic. When people get up off the ground, it doesn't look like weird like it did in years past. They actually get up off the ground, and it sounds like a little thing, but when you actually see it in game, you will like it. You'll appreciate how nice it looks. QBs, you know, everybody has signature style. So QBs at the line calling hot routes. You saw a little bit of this in the actual trailer that was released, but they move a specific way. They have signature ways that they bark out orders or animations they do at the line. Running backs or just ball carriers in general, they all run differently. Powerful backs, you know, take more strides, whereas shiftier backs and faster backs have less stride. You know, some people run a little bit higher or ball up tight. Some people run with the ball out wide. So nobody looks robotic anymore. Even catching styles, you know, certain people, the way they catch the ball, they're just different now. That you don't see the same animations between every player. So that is really cool. They really nailed that. It definitely feels more authentic. Now talking about the real player motion / local motion. Player locomotion or run cycles is the feature that is going to have the biggest impact on Madden gameplay. The locomotion system has been rebuilt using technological innovations from across a variety of EA games and was designed in a way that intuitively balances the line between responsiveness and authenticity. The new locomotion system delivers the precision of making sharp cuts versus rounded turns based on button inputs. You want to make a sharp cut up the field before stepping out of bounds near the sideline, you let go of the right trigger acceleration boost and move the left stick in the desired direction to cut sharply on a dime. Want to run at full speed, making minor movements to avoid losing momentum? Hold the right trigger acceleration burst to carve through the defense. So This is actually really cool. So, you know, in years past, you try to run turbo and you just run around the field and you kind of can just like round off your cuts. Now you literally can stop on a dime, cut whatever which way, but in order to do this most effectively, you have to let go of the speed burst. So it's not like overpowered. You can't run at full speed and just make ridiculous cuts on a dime. It's extremely realistic. So you have to choose. Do you want the speed and momentum at the, you know, at kind of being on the worst end in terms of like type of cuts and quick moves you can make? Or do you want to sacrifice some speed to be able to really plant your foot in the ground and make a guy miss? It's definitely really cool. And a lot of people from like the leaked footage were saying the game looks slow. And yes, the game does play a little slower, and you know, Clint was telling us that, you know, in order to have local motion be real and authentic and the physics be as real as they've ever been, you have to slow the game down because you can't make some of these cuts and movements at this top end speed. It's just not realistic. So the game is a little bit slower. It does take some games to get used to it. It's going to feel kind of a little rough at first, but once you get used to it, you notice just how much smoother it is, how much easier it is to make cuts, how easy it is to hit the hole. That was something else they touched on. In years past, you would try to hit the hole as a running back, and you kind of get sucked into a blocking animation or pulled one way or the other. Now the game is slowed down a little bit. You have better motion, and you can just like, you know, tap the joystick and kind of maneuver your way, kind of almost do like a mini jump cut through the hole to navigate where you want to go and help you get extra yards. And in years past, sometimes you would get a no yard gain because you weren't able to properly hit the hole. Now, something we noticed is that on defense, this kind of works as well. So it's easier to hit the hole on offense, but it's also easier to shoot the gaps on defense because it's a little bit more slowed down. It's a little bit easier to hit the gap. So I feel like that makes it balanced on both sides. It's not that, you know, the run game is getting a benefit that you're not also seeing on defense. You definitely can hit gaps a little bit better, at least in the current state that the game is in. The one cut mechanic is something else that's new. So speaking of putting your foot in the ground, one cut is the new ball carrier move that does that by leveraging the skill of the acceleration burst with the precision of the new player locomotion. Inspired by one cut backs in zone schemes, this further supported by the Minnesota Vikings, you know, wide receiver Stephon Diggs, who had the miracle play in the playoffs. This mechanic unlocks the ability to burst out of controlled cut on a drastic direction change up the field. So the one cut is pretty cool. It's not the easiest to pull off. There's a very small window that you can pull this off. You have to be off turbo to use it. So if you're moving up the field, you need to press down turbo and cut at the same time. But if you're already holding turbo, you can't activate it. So keep that in mind. You have to be off turbo, maneuver your guy, kind of set the defender up, and then you press turbo and then press the left stick to the side you want to one cut to at the same time. It is a very small window to pull it off. It's not easy. In my opinion, it's not overpowered right now. They may tune it a little bit because we did play the game in an earlier state a while back, and one cut was actually very OP. So they listened to our feedback and made it tougher, but I think they still need to find a little bit of a balance. It's kind of an easier thing to pull off on kick returns and punt returns because you have a lot of room to work with, but on run plays right now, it definitely is a very small window, and it does give you a big stamina hit. So don't think you can just, you know, figure one cut out and just one cut on every cut down the field. You pretty much can only pull this off one time per play because it definitely takes a significant stamina boost. But if you set it up right, if you set up your defender kind of on an angle, plant your foot in the ground and speed burst out of it, you can leave him in your dust and score a touchdown off of it if there's nobody at the next level to be able to, you know, make a play on you. So use it wisely, try to set it up and wait for the right moment. At this state, it's not OP. I don't know how it's going to be tuned, but just keep that in mind. So another new feature is Strafe Burst. The defensive counter to one cut is Strafe Burst. It's very similar and looks and feels the same way. It will allow your defender to have similar ability to quickly accelerate out of a foot plant to make a play. So EA was smart with this. They knew that, you know, they know how gamers are. We try to break the game sometimes and find, you know, I'm sure there's a way that somebody may try to abuse one cut. There may wind up being a way that that's possible, but at least they put Strafe Burst in on defense. They give you a direct counter. And again, just like one cut, this is a little bit harder to pull off. So for those that put the time in to learn this mechanic, you will be at an advantage as somebody that learns the one cut. So if someone puts their time into learning how to one cut very good, but you don't put your time into learning how to Strafe Burst, you can't really complain if you have trouble stopping it because the mechanic is definitely there and it definitely works. But you have to put time in not only on just one cut, but on Strafe Burst too, so that you can have the advantage on offense, but also have the advantage on defense to be able to stop it. And now we have something called branching special moves. In Madden 19, you can chain together ball carrier specific moves and, you know, make a smooth transition out of one before each is completed. You want to quickly transition from a juke to a spin and back to a juke. Real player motion allows the freedom and creativity of our players to take their best shot at putting some of the best highlight videos ever seen. So this, again, Also very true, in one of the videos I do have coming out, I have like a clip of Alvin Kamara doing just this, kind of doing a juke into a spin, and it is actually really cool. It's not the super easiest thing to pull off, but for those that have really good stick and are really good at running the ball, this is going to be another way to really, really set up your defenders and really, make them miss. It's definitely it's definitely really cool and very satisfying when you pull this off. Kind of think of like in a basketball game when you chain together moves. You do like a hesitation and then you do a crossover and spin. Feels the same way in Madden. It feels very, very satisfying when you do like a crazy juke into a spin into another juke and just like really set a player up. It's not super easy to do, but it feels worth it when you do it. But aside from that, I mean, that's the most important things that were talked about on the EA website. But definitely, just like I said, from first hands on the game, I'm gonna have a complete hands-on impressions video coming soon that talks about everything, but just kind of focusing more on the player motion and the signature styles that it affects. It's definitely, the game definitely looks cooler. The animations are just phenomenal. The tackle animations, there's a lot of new ones, a lot of new gang tackle animations. The hit stick animations are probably some of my favorite about the new game. The catch animations, I mean, crazy, like just super crazy stuff. Catch animations are, the way we catch the ball is different too. So something else they addressed was, if you went for a rack catch, sometimes your guy would go up for, aggressive catch, and then it would mess you up. Well, they kind of retuned the whole system. So for instance, if you throw a high point pass, you can't even attempt to possession catch it or rack catch it. Your guy will not go for the catch. So you have to keep that in mind. I think people are going to play the game this year and try to do stuff like that and then be mad saying, why isn't my catch animation triggering? If you throw like a high point pass, you have to aggressive catch it this year, which makes sense. You can't try to rack catch that. So the rack swerve that was so big this year, you can't do that anymore. Also, on the defensive side of the ball, for people going up with aggressive catches, now if you play receiver in the air, they're going to go for mid-air collisions to try to separate receivers from the ball. It's timing based though. If you get there too early and hit them too early, there will be pass interference even in online play. That's something a lot of people wanted. So if someone goes up for aggressive catch or like a high point ball and you play receiver and you time it right and you hit him mid-air or you hit stick him mid-air, which you can also do now, you will likely separate them from the ball. But if you get there too early, you'll get PI, or if you're a little too late, they're going to make the aggressive catch on you. So all of these things are really good. The ball placement matters with which type of catch you try to go for, whereas in years past you could go for any of the type of catches kind of no matter where the ball was placed. So to prevent this, they had to make it specific. If it's high, you can't go for a rack. If it's a low ball, then you can kind of go, for your possession or your rack catch, but just keep that in mind this year. Make sure the ball placement matters with how you try to catch the ball. So, really, so far, I'm definitely pretty impressed with a lot of things, but I do have, like I said, my hands-on impression. We'll go over the good and the bad and, some concerns and all that stuff all together. But just wanted to get a video out specifically on the player motion and, the animations, because it is something that's really big about the game this year. So, I hope you guys enjoy this video as always. Remember, put notifications on. Stay tuned for the exclusive videos coming within the week. And as always, I will see you guys next time.